My name is Liz West. I'm an artist. I work with light and colour to make immersive and otherworldly environments that completely change the space that they're in. For show windows, I've made Surround In at Cong, which is a space that people can only access from the outside, and they can see a light work by pressing up against the window and the circular aperture. And beyond that is a light installation with LEDs in different colours on the back of black waste pipes, which all zigzag and cross in a complete juxtaposition to the circle on the front. The process of creating work that used colour and light together came way back when I was studying at Glasgow School of Art as a student. And it was the idea of using additive mixing, so colour in light rather than subjective mixing, which is colour in pigment, that really fascinated me. And it made me think about when I was a little girl and the fact that I would used to mix like PVA glue and ink together, spread it out on surfaces, let it dry and create these stained glass windows in effect, pin them to my bedroom window. So from as far back as I can remember, I was really interested in the combination of those mediums and then how they could change space, whether that be through artificial or natural light. So kind of directing light to change people's perceptions of space, hopefully, and sometimes make people notice elements of the space that they might not normally notice. One element of this work has been shown before in galleries. The idea of the pipes being propped up on the wall with the colours emitting coloured light from the back, creating a kind of painterly mixture of colour. I first did back in 2013 in my studio in Manchester, and have shown it a number of times in white cube spaces where it's really pared back and has space to breathe. And when I was invited to make a proposal for the show windows, I really liked the idea of repurposing an existing work, ultimate recycling, but giving it a new twist. So taking the ideas of my degree show being a very small aperture that you looked through and saw a light chamber beyond, and wanting my work to become more intimate, because a lot of what I've been making recently is monumental, quite a lot of site-specific public art. And so it's quite nice to be making work in a controlled space again. So the shape on the outside is a circle, and I came to that through a process of making drawings and having conversations, and it's quite intuitive. I would sketch out different lines and imagine them as apertures, and I think I generated about 30 different drawings and then whittled it down to about 6, which I then sketched on top of a drawing of the window. So I could start imagining how the lines or the apertures would cross through the 6 panels. One of the reasons why the circle was chosen in my mind was because I wanted it to be accessible from any height. And of course the circular aperture offers a viewing point at every height upon that. Whereas if the line had been just an adult eye height, that would have been really inaccessible to a lot of people. So the theme for December was light. So it's an obvious choice for me to do something. My medium is light. However, I've been making quite a lot of work recently with natural light. And I guess one thing that happens is you make something successfully or happily and people see it and you get asked to do more and more of the same thing. It's been a long time since I've done anything with artificial light, which obviously lends itself to this time of year where the nights are drawing in and it's much darker outside. So the intensity of the artificial light and the vibrancy and the colour control that you get, I think really works in December. It obviously brightens the space. I hope that on a wet day the circle reflects in the wet pavement and you get this double whammy. But I'd like to think that in the darkest months of January and February this piece perhaps stays and gives people joy then too.